We're in Sheffield next to the old parish church, built in 1760, and a statue of a very revolutionary American, Elizabeth Freeman. Allegorical, this memorial tells us how that extraordinary woman, enslaved for domestic service, a skilled herbalist in her own right, see the trowel she's carrying in her hand, almost single-handedly ended slavery in Massachusetts. In her right hand, Freeman holds the August 1781 court decision that emancipated her. Affirmed by state judges in another freedom suit, Brom and Bett v. Ashley helped abolish slavery across the Commonwealth. When the Revolutionary War started in 1775, slavery was legal throughout the British Empire. Yet ideas of natural rights and liberty, fueling the colonists' protests against Parliament and eventually the king and monarchy itself, were universal. White colonists denounced British misrule as, quote, slavery. But free and enslaved black men and women insisted on their rights and liberties too. Freeman was born into slavery in New York in 1745, when even white women had no legal rights separate from men in the colonies. Slaves, however, were property that could be bought and sold. John Ashley of Sheffield inherited Freeman and other enslaved people in 1735 when he married Hannah Hoggaboom and built a home nearby. Many, many legends surround Elizabeth Freeman. Most were recorded by writer Catherine Maria Sedgwick, the daughter of Sheffield lawyer Theodore Sedgwick, who filed Freeman's lawsuit and represented her in court at the time he lived across the street. Catherine alleged that Hannah Ashley permanently crippled Elizabeth's arm when Freeman shielded another enslaved woman whom Hannah was trying to hit with a shovel. Catherine also claimed that Freeman asked her father to help her sue Ashley after she heard the new Massachusetts Constitution being read from this meeting house's steps. That Constitution's preamble stated, quote, all men are born free and equal and have certain natural, essential, and inalienable rights. They included, quote, defending their lives and liberties, acquiring, possessing, and protecting property, and seeking and obtaining their safety and happiness. Elizabeth Freeman became Stockbridge's elder stateswoman. Working for Theodore Sedgwick, saving money to buy her own farm, she died wealthier than most women in 1829. Quote, anytime while I was a slave, she said, according to Catherine Sedgwick, if 1 minute's freedom had been offered to me and I had been told I must die at the end of that minute, I would have taken it, just to stand 1 minute on God's earth, a free woman. We're in Sheffield on the road to Egremont near its intersection with Rebellion Road, so named for the battle that was fought here between anti-tax insurgents and state militia in the winter of 1787. This monument, installed in 1904, marks Shays' Rebellion's bloodiest clash. Americans credit the Founding Fathers for the Constitution drafted at Philadelphia in the summer of 1787. But it was this rebellion, named for its leader Daniel Shays from Pelham, that shocked them into action. Shays' resistance triggered the movement to replace a weak national government under the Articles of Confederation with a much stronger new federal government able to suppress insurrection and remedy its causes. Berkshire residents, mostly poor farmers, suffered in a faltering post-war economy. In March 1786, state legislators made a bad situation much worse. To help the Congress pay its war debts, Massachusetts demanded £29,000 from taxpayers. Congress couldn't tax the states or citizens directly. It relied on the states' voluntary contributions. This new so-called requisition would take up to 5 times more of a Massachusetts farmer's annual income than British taxes ever had. Boston required this tax be paid in scarce gold or silver. Most of those coins were paying for English imports. Taxpayers objected that the state was paying only the interest on government war bonds and loans. Speculators, many of them wealthier Bostonians, had bought up most of these and soldiers' unfunded pay certificates at deep discounts. but they wanted them redeemed at full value. Debtors lost their economic independence as courts seized and auctioned property to pay creditors or jailed them. Judges seized property to pay tax bills. Massachusetts exploded. Men, including veterans, revived Revolutionary-era tactics, holding county conventions and closing courts. At Great Barrington in September, 800 armed insurgents, confronted by 200 militiamen, convinced most of them to join them in closing Great Barrington's court. On February 27, 1787, some 90 rebels led by Captain Perez Hamlin of Lenox sacked Stockbridge. Invading 30 homes, robbing and terrorizing residents, they grabbed 32 men and rode sleds with booty and prisoners over the snow to Great Barrington. Before they reached Sheffield village, they turned west on this road. Berkshire militiamen who were hiding here on both sides of the road in woods ambushed them. 2 rebels and 2 government men were killed. One was a hostage, Solomon Glateson Jr., a 27-year-old schoolteacher from Stockbridge. Hamlin, wounded and captured, escaped from jail, but 2 young rebels were hanged at Lenox. Their rebellion created the Constitution.